Today we're going to talk about buttons on the Quest 2 controller, how to fix them, and what's going on underneath the surface. This controller got sent in to me because the X button isn't working quite right, the Y button seems to work just fine, and the menu button works fine. The controller is mostly functional, but for some reason the X button just isn't depressing properly. If you listen to it, you can kind of tell that this one clicks a little bit more, but mostly it's a feel thing. I can just feel that this one doesn't have the right resistance compared to the Y button. It just doesn't push back against me when I'm trying to push it. This one's got a nice little spring and a nice satisfying click to it. So what's going on here? Well, what's going on is underneath the buttons, you have these little rubber feet and these capacitance antennas. The buttons themselves kind of sit on top of these rubber feet and capacitance antennas, and when I click it, I depress the button down so that rubber foot is compressed in place. The rubber feet, if I remove them from the board, they kind of look like this, so they compress this way, and this little plastic core here is actually what depresses the button. I've removed these feet from this board here, so you can see that the button is really surface mounted, and it relies on this rubber foot sitting in place here to actually press it down. So now when I press down on this spring and that rubber foot, that plastic core in the center actually touches and makes contact with this sensor that's on the board here. These little springs are your actual capacitance antennas, so that's what detects your finger on the button when you press it, and they're just soldered in here. Most of the resistance doesn't come from the spring because that's really just an antenna. Most of the resistance comes from the button itself here. When I press down on it just a little bit, you can see that it pushes back up against me, and it's the plastic core in the center that needs to be in place to make contact with the board. So what's going on with this one, and why does it not work properly? My guess is that the rubber inside there has either deteriorated or it's been broken or severed or cut in some way. You see this a lot with people who spray contact cleaner and WD-40, things that are designed to break down adhesives. It'll break down the rubber and the adhesive here so that it actually tears at the base. It also can just happen from wear and tear. So if you play enough and you wiggle your buttons around a lot, eventually the rubber just at the base of the button wears out and tears, and then that plastic core will no longer return to its resting position because the rubber is not doing its job anymore. Another common thing that I see, and I'm not going to touch on this too much today, I'll do this in another video, but one thing that I see a lot is liquid damage on boards. So liquid damage gets in through the buttons and destroys these little antennas here. And of course, any liquid that gets in this board is not only going to damage those capacitance antennas, but it's also going to damage any of the peripheral components, and you can see how that liquid has damaged that button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this controller apart. We're going to take a look inside and see exactly what the situation is with the button, and hopefully we can fix that problem. If you're new to the channel, it does help us if you like and subscribe to the channel and check out our other videos. And if you find yourself needing any tools or parts for this particular job, you can get those on our website, fixmyoculus.com. I'm going to kind of speed through the teardown on this particular controller video. I've got lots of videos where I tear down the controller and show you all the ins and outs of how to take it apart. So if you need that tutorial process, you can just check out one of my other videos where I go through that in depth. For this, we're going to focus on that board repair. So I'm going to do this real quick, and then we'll get the board out and see what's going on inside. Alright, and here we are. We've pulled the board out of the controller, and as expected, the rubber foot is torn here, and it's in two separate pieces, so no wonder there's no resistance there. That looks like a wear and tear issue to me, but you can see exactly why it doesn't have the same resistance. If I push down on the button there, it pushes properly and pushes back at me, and then this one just kind of collapses because, I mean, there's a little resistance, but it's definitely not the way it's supposed to be. And you can see why the button's not working, because it's probably not coming down in the right spot. So all I really need to do here is I'm going to take my tweezers and we're just going to pull this portion out. Easy. And there's our little plastic core. And then this rubber foot here is kind of adhered on. So what we're going to do is I'm going to blast this with a heat gun real quick just to warm up that adhesive and try to loosen it up. And now I want to take my plastic spudger here, and we're just gonna gently remove this off the board. Perfect. Now we can take our replacement part and we're just going to tuck it up under in the capacitance. And now that that's in place, I can feel that the button resists me again properly. We'll put this controller back together, and I'll go ahead and install a new joystick since the customer asked for that as well. And we'll see if everything works. Alright, so I threw a battery in this and I went ahead and jumped in the headset that it's paired to, and the buttons are working. Joystick seems like it's working great. And that X button now has the right amount of click and resistance to match the Y button. So I think that we're good on this repair here. As you can see, it doesn't take a whole lot of time, and it's a fairly easy repair, so if it's a problem that you're struggling with, your buttons just aren't working right, or maybe you think that they're damaged in some way, you can just crack your controller open and take a look inside and see what's going on. In this case, it was just one of these rubber feet being torn. Sometimes it's a little worse, like a liquid damage thing, but most of the time it's pretty repairable, and it's something you can easily dip your toes into the water on as far as repairs go. If you've made it this far into the video and you haven't liked or subscribed to the channel yet, please consider doing so. It really helps us out, and hopefully it helps get out more information to those who need it. I know there's a lot of people out there who are struggling with issues just like this one because, well, we're here repairing one that somebody sent in to us. Like I said earlier, if you are looking for replacement parts for your Quest 2, you can get those on our website, fixmyoculus.com. And if you need a different type of repair video tutorial on the Quest 2 or the Quest 2 controllers, just leave us a comment and let us know what you're looking for. Appreciate you guys watching the full video, and if you have any questions, let me know that too. But otherwise, we will see you on the next one.